everybody. Welcome for the second ICC Community Roundtable. I apologize if I speak in English. Is everybody okay with that? When you communicate in both, I understand Farsi very well too, so it's just this is a little bit more easier for me to get my points across. The first thing I want to point out is today this is being videotaped, so if anybody has any issues with that, please let us know, and we can try to accommodate you in that regard, maybe get you off the camera. The other thing is that the second...
Are you going to put it on YouTube or no?
We haven't decided on that yet. We might put it on the website, actually, on the ICC website. This is the second roundtable we had. The first one we had was in June. The purpose of the roundtable is a few different things. One, we want to have an opportunity to engage with all the different organizations in the community to hear what your feedback is, what we can do better, because we always need to do better. And it's an opportunity for us to explain to you what we've been up to and what we've been doing in the last 3, 4, 5 months since we had our first ICC roundtable. Okay? I want to just thank everyone for coming out on a Sunday afternoon. This is obviously everyone's free time, and it's good that we all acknowledge that whatever our position is on anything, whether we may disagree or have criticisms or any sort of positive comments or what have you, they're all welcome. But ultimately, the reason why we're all here is because we want a better community. There's no doubt about that. It doesn't matter what your concerns are, but it's because you want a better community. So I want to just thank everyone and acknowledge that. That's where our collective focus is on. The other piece of it is that for this organization to succeed, we all need to buy into it. Okay? I don't own this organization. It's not mine. It doesn't belong to anybody on the board, Dr. Zandy, Sean. It doesn't belong to any of us. It belongs to every one of us. Okay? And for us to make sure this organization succeeds, we have to respect the institution of the organization. So today I want to hear everyone's viewpoints. And the only way we can do that is if we all collectively agree to a format in which we're going to do this. So we have good governance. Everyone's going to get an opportunity to speak. We're going to give you 60 seconds to ask your question. We'll have a response, and we'll go back and forth, okay? But this rule about getting the opportunity to speak is not just something that we're all here to accept. We all collectively need to enforce it as well, okay? So that means that we're asking every one of you to say, listen, let's get the ideas out there, let's get the discussion out there, but let's do it in a way that is productive, that leads to an obvious objective, which is the betterment of the community, and does it in a respectful and classy way that our community is becoming up. Okay? So before I continue, I'll just tell you the agenda. We're going to start with 3 main topics. The first one will be the TV issue, because it's pertinent. It came up very recently in the last number of months. The second will be the embassy issue. The third will be other matters, where anybody can ask a question on any issue they'd like to ask. The fourth thing we'll be doing is in a survey. It's a feedback survey at the very end. It's anonymous. You don't have to put your name on it, but you can provide any sort of commentary you want to put on there. Okay? And before I continue on with the agenda, I want to just review the feedback results we got from the last survey. Because last time we had the roundtable, we handed out, we got people who provided responses. And I want to give back some of the responses that we got. The first question on it was, what role would you like to see the ICC carry out for the community? And here's some of the responses. To represent the community in all levels of society and government. To act as a conduit between all Iranian organizations and the government. To provide a forum for all organizations to interact. To take a leadership role in tackling and addressing issues within the Iranian community in Canada. Second question, what role would you like to see the ICC carry out for your particular organization? Here's some of the answers. To support programs and opportunities. To connect volunteers amongst organizations. More involvement with Iranian Canadian organizations. Okay? Third question, what of the ICC's activities to date have you been satisfied with and why? Some of the community's needs have been worked towards, but the board needs to be more proactive. This is one of the responses we got. I hope the new board can rectify this. Another question, response. Glad to see the roundtable initiative as it is a good step forward. Fourth question, what of the ICC's activities to date have you not been satisfied with and why? Here's a response. The ICC has not previously responded to and or taken any positions on some issues because of the personal views of the board members. This is a community organization and should do what will benefit the community at large, even if it is to a board member's disadvantage. Another comment that we received. Not outreaching to all organizations and representing the ICC at the Senate as a representative of the Iranian community when this is only the Ontario branch and has only 250 members. The Iranian community consists of at least 100,000 people. So that's one of the criticisms we got as well too. What can the ICC do better? update the community on the progress they are making. Someone asked to see the minutes of the meetings published on the Iranian media. Another response, I believe the ICC is on the right track. Another one, networking and more community involvement. And last was be more involved with organizations and their activities. So these are some of the feedback responses that we got from the last survey. At the end of this meeting today, which at the end of it, we're going to pass out the same survey. You're going to respond to the same questions, and then at the next roundtable, we'll discuss some of the feedback that we got again. Any questions? Yes.
Do you have this in written format?
Yes.
Is it online?
No.
Is it possible? How do people get hand on that?
And on this?
Yes, the result of the last time your roundtable meeting. The last roundtable. We have the minutes of the last roundtable.
This is the minutes.
And that you have it only, or is it? I'm asking if it's
accessible
for people. Is it online?
It's not online because we just got our website up, right? So we couldn't put it online. But if you'd like it, I will give you my email personally. I'll forward it to you, no problem at all.
It's not a matter of having it individually. It's a matter of being public for people to
Okay.
review. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so we'll put it up. We'll put the ones for this meeting as well.
Okay.
So both.
Maybe the next meeting that you can have both meetings.
Well, they're going to go on the website either way, and they should. They should go on the website. But to answer your question, are they available now? No, they're not. Can they be available to you? Absolutely, anybody. And they will go up on the website as well.
Not me.
We just said we would.
Iranians.
Right. Okay.
All the organizations that are participating in this.
Absolutely.
Get a minute.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to start with the first issue, which was the TD Bank issue, which is one of the most recent events. And I think for this, we're going to ask Kaveh, because he was involved very heavily with it, to provide a synopsis of what happened, what you were thinking, and then we'll open it up to discussion to the roundtable.
Thank you so much, David. با سلام همگی خیلی متشکرم که تشریف آوردین. اگه اجازه بدید من این صحبت رو انگلیسی بکنم چون این مقدار صحبت تکنیکال و از نظر مسائل مجبور میشیم یکم راجع به مسائل حقوقی صحبت کنیم. انگلیسی صحبت کنم. So I think that the TD issue is one that everybody's familiar with roughly. We got word a few months ago that TD Bank was closing the bank accounts of a number of Iranian Canadians with very little explanation, very little notice. This came to our attention via people that we knew via community newspapers and so on. And we figured that the best thing to do would be to, first of all, before acting, to actually figure out what the facts were. So we held a fact-finding session just in the next room over. We had a very good turnout. I think 70, 80 people came out. And they shared with us exactly what had happened to them. They shared with us some documents. And on that basis, the Congress decided to act, and we decided to pursue several different avenues at the same time. One was to be a media campaign, and the other was to be government lobbying. As these things tend to be sometimes, one thing kind of got ahead of the other. The media campaign seemed to take off very quickly. I think there were elements in the story that the media found very interesting. And so we did this basically media blitz over about a week where all the national media, the CBC, CTV, Global, the Toronto Star, the Ottawa Citizen, the Globe and Mail, everybody covered the story. And I think, and international outlets too, the BBC, the Associated Press and others. So this was a spectacular victory, for our community generally, just getting our concern out there to the wider Canadian audience. And I think it was incredibly effective in getting TV to take notice because obviously they don't want their name associated with something that smells like discrimination. The point that we made, and I think this is an important issue to point out, the line that we took, the position that we took in all our media statements and all the subsequent discussions that we had, was that we believe this closing of accounts stems from sanctions. The sanctions are in place, they're a reality. We have no major objections to sanctions being placed on human rights abusers in Iran. What we do have a problem with, and this is a statement we made consistently in all our media statements, we have a problem when those sanctions start affecting ordinary people. And in this case, it felt like the sanctions were beginning to affect ordinary people. As a result of the media attention that came, we actually were successful in having a meeting with the CEO of TD Canada Trust. This was, I would say a major victory for our community. I mean, a person at that level to come and meet with community representatives, it means that they took our concern very seriously. And we had a very frank discussion. I was there, Professor Zani was there, and it was a fruitful back and forth. You know, we explained to them the concerns of the community, that we felt that people were not being given a proper process by which to dispute what had happened to them. They, in turn, gave us some legal explanations as to why they were taking the steps they were taking. At the end of the day, I think, you know, the result that came of it was that they decided to revisit some of their procedures. They actually went back and recontacted some of the people whose accounts they closed, whom they had not been able to contact initially. And what they told us, and they can't tell us any more than this because of banking secrecy laws and so on, what they told us was that several bank accounts were reopened. We consider this, again, a victory. Obviously, we would have liked more, but you know, you have to take the situation as it was given. You know, you're dealing with a multinational bank with a team of lawyers and so on. We're a small community organization. The other step, I think, what came as a result of it, and this is also worth pointing out, what came as a result of it was a realization that the problem is not really limited to TD. I think what I noticed as a lawyer, and I think the other lawyers on our board noticed this as a result of discussion with TD, was that the problem is not just TD's action, but the sanctions legislation is written in a way that's not entirely clear, and different banks have taken different positions on what it means. And to simplify it, I won't get into too much of the legal detail, but to simplify it, the law says that you can't have financial relationships, a Canadian bank can't have financial relationships with a person in Iran. Now the issue is, what does a person in Iran mean? Is it somebody that lives in Iran? Is it somebody that has a house in Iran? Is it somebody, it's a legal ambiguity. And so the next step is going to be lobbying the government to clarify those rules. This is an issue that we've raised. We had a meeting, for example, with Minister Jason Kenney. We raised it there. We raised it with his staff. I wasn't present at the meeting with the Prime Minister, but I understand that Dr. Zani and others raised the issue with the Prime Minister. And it's an ongoing debate. So I think that the problem is, at this point, the issue is the focus has shifted away from TD and more on the sanctions legislation. And that's kind of where our focus is going to be in the work that we're going to be doing. So the strategic position that we took, the view that we took, was that we gain more by engaging directly with TD Bank, by not criticizing them too harshly, but engaging with them, talking with them, and getting them to see our point of view, and also at the same time working with government officials and hopefully advancing that. We've advanced it a little bit, but we hope to obviously move it forward.
Okay, thank you very much, Kavit. That was a synopsis of more or less what happened with the TD issue. What we'll do now is we'll open it up to questions from the floor. Before those of you that want to ask a question, I just ask that you stay within a 60-second timeline, and then also try to keep them as succinct as possible. Sometimes questions become commentary and then we don't really understand what the purpose of the question is. And I think for everybody to have an opportunity to engage, we need to just be very succinct about the question. So the first question, anybody want to ask it?
I just have
Yeah.
a comment. Before you go on to the next stage, can you just go around the room and kind of
Introduce?
Give
Okay.
everybody
Sure.
time to introduce themselves. So
Let's do that.
Shall I add to that, please? Would you please introduce the elected and appointed member of the Congress? We don't know. I mean, I don't know who is now running the Congress.
We know.
Okay, so let's start with Dr. Zani. Do you want to start with the introduction to the board?
Okay.
And then we're going to, after we're going to introduce the board, we're going to go around the table. Okay, that's a good comment. And then after that, we'll start with our questions, okay? Dr. Zani?
خیلی ممنون اشتباه بودیم بعد از ظهر در جواب خانم جوان‌ها خدمتتون عرض می‌کنم از بوردی که الکتد شده همین که اطلاع دارید دیوید موسوی، کاوه شهروز، بنده، دکتر حسن‌پور، دکتر کفایی در خدمتتون هستیم و جناب همین هستن و بعد ما سه نفر بعد از اینکه چند نفر از بورد ریزاین کردن طبق قانون اساسی بالای تشکیلات ICC پرزیدنت حق داره که تا جنرال میتینگ بعدی کمبود اعضای بورد رو تعیین بکنه، یعنی در حقیقت انتصابی هست. در حال حاضر سه نفر از این اعضا با ما همکاری میکنن. خانم مریم گرزی، ارشد یزدان رشدی و خانم سارا افشار. این ما در حال حاضر 8 نفر در بورد هستیم و در 5 انتخاب شدیم، 3 تامون اپوینت شدیم و این تا میتینگ بعدی که در ماه اپریل هست این کنتینیوتی ادامه پیدا میکنه تا در اون موقع به مرتبه ما برای اعضایی که اپروو بودن اونا استعفا خواهند داد و الکشن صورت خواهد گرفت و خواستن ران بکنن ران خواهند کرد اگر الکتر شدن به ما جور خواهند کرد و اگر کسی که خواست ران بکنه و جور بکنه اونا سر کنه.
I think the one point worth noting is that there is still one vacancy that
نفر دوم هم با بعد خواهد کنه.
So we're going to start from, just do you want to,
the name of the organization, if it's possible.
از من شروع کنم. نفر آخر من فرامرز شیرانی هستم. گزارشگر سابقا با روشنگر همکاری میکردم و میشه گفت از بعد تولد کنگره ایرانیان به آنها میشه از بچگی داشت تا الان میشناسیم همه رو پشت صحنه روی صحنه معروف به ویژه کمیته هیئت مدیره سابق رو به خوبی میشناسیم و اگر کسی اطلاعاتی خواست میشونم در اختیارتون بذارم. مرسی.
من باریس داوود هستم پشتیبانی خودم رو از هیئت مدیره جدید من باریس داوود هستم و پشتیبان هیئت مدیره جدید هستم.
Mehdi Amin هستم. My name is Mehdi Amin and I work with the community members and I know everybody sitting on this table. Thank you.
من مریم نایبیازی هستم. فعال حقوق بشر هستم. بورد ممبر ICC هستم. کمیته ممبر و نویسنده هستم.
من یاسمه بهشتی. I'm an elected, appointed board member and I am a administrator.
سارا تقشا هستم. یکی از اعضای انتخاب شده ICC هستم و در وزارت دادگستری کار میکنم.
مسعود هستم که اصلا میشناسید بورد ممبر هستم.
مسعود منصورزاده مشهدی متخصص امور اشتباهی عضو ICC.
رضا قاضی president of ICC network.
Q Master Rezvani Far, I'm representing Iranian Canadian Cultural Fellowship. بنده داوود کفایی هستم. ضمن اینکه یکی از بورد ممبر ICC هستم ولی ما یه انجمن جدیدی داریم، انجمن دامپزشکان ایرانی کانادا و در واقع من هرچی کنم based on the nature سعی میکنم که پروفشنال خودمون انجمن خودمون پروموت کنیم. در حال حاضر بیشتر ضمن اینکه بورد ممبر هستم دوست دارم که انجمن دامپزشکان ایرانی را در کانادا را پروموت کنم.
سلام عرض میکنم خدمت همگی. من مفخر مردمی هستم.
سلام عرض کردم بهنام کاتبیان هستم. من عضو ICC نتورک هستم. من بورد ICQ و بورد ایرانیان کانادین مورگیج اسوسییشن. امروز از طرف سیما که همون کانادین ایرانیان مورگیج اسوسییشن باشه در خدمت هستم.
من مورد صرفی هستم. فعال حقوق بشر.
سلمان سیما هستم. عضو دانشجویان دانش آموزان لیبرال. دانشجویان دانش آموزان لیبرال.
دانیال امینی هستم. معاونت سازمان نگهداشتن ایرانی.
قارشان فارسی هستم. فعال حقوق امروزگرایان و مدیر سازمان نگهداشتن ایرانی.
نصر عباسی از نشریه شهر.
حامد مرفا هستم. فعال سازمان دانشجویی.
من نسرین جوانفر هستم.
من صمیمی هستم. محمد دوله از کشورهای قدیمی ایرانی هستم. آرزوم اینه که کانادایی‌ها که اینجا فعال هستیم، ایرانی کانادایی‌ها با هم دیالوگ‌های دوستانه‌تری داشته باشیم، اتحادمون رو بیشتر کنیم، سرنوشت آینده مملکت ما. اگر می‌خواهیم در اینجا کاری براشون انجام بدیم، اتحاد بین همه. اگر در حد اکثرها نمیتونیم با هم متحد بشیم، در حد اقل‌های بیشماری که با هم داریم میتونیم متحد بشیم.
من مریم پتروکو هستم. دلیل آموزش پرورش ایران بودم. اینجا فعالیت زیادی داشتم. فعالیتی که خوندم وزیر خود مصوبت مجلس شرکت کنم. صحبت‌ها بسیار زیاد خواهد بود اگر مسئول انجمن مسئول این سازمانی که الان مصوبت تشکیل شده دارم بتونیم با جامعه صحبت داشته باشیم.
از سلام مجدد کاوه شهریز هستم جزء کانگره.
سلام، آزاده شاهنواز هستم، مسئول جبهه متحد دانشجو در تورنتو و جزء بورد اینترنشنال سنتر فور هیومن رایتس موومنت.
من محمد سلیمانی هستم.
David, just the other row, the people in the back there.
آقای بفرمایید.
من خلف نعیم
سویلا خلافه هستم. از وقتی که بورد جدید به اصطلاح اومد افتخار داشتم که مثل ICC باشم و ازشون خیلی تشکر می‌کنم تا مدت کوتاه خیلی کارش کردم.
اینا ارواقان هستم، برای دولت کار می‌کنم قسمت گاورنمنت سرویسز. سعد هستم، شبیه عضو ICC. نامی هستم، هم عضو ICC. من شهر قهوه‌ای هستم، عضو ICC.